Welcome back to Leadership Beyond Burnout. I'm your host, Dr. Kimberly L. Wilson. This is the sanctuary for leaders who are done pretending everything's fine while they silently run on fumes. Here we explore what it truly means to heal, lead, and succeed without sacrificing your soul or brilliant minds who've navigated burnout, breakthrough, and bold reinvention. This isn't just leadership as usual. This is the revolution of the resilient. And you're invited to pull a seat up to our fire. So let's dive in. But first, we want to share a little bit about our sponsor, Leadership and Resilience Consultants, and their Resilient Leader Lab. Wow, I got a little tongue twister there. So if you're tired of soft solutions to hard problems, the Resilient Leader Lab was built for leaders who break rules and glass ceilings. This isn't just wellness theater, it's a strategic lab where we weaponize recovery, resilience, and radical clarity to create fearless, burnout-proof leadership so that you can lead like you mean it. And let's get into our guest today. Today's guest is Morgan Gutierrez. She is a performance and mindset engineer who helps entrepreneurs and high achievers break out of autopilot and design lives they actually want to wake up for. Morgan's journey took her from burned out public school teacher to building a thriving real estate business and now into coaching, where she blends mindset mastery with practical strategy. She equips you to think clearly, decide quickly, and act with alignment without sacrificing health, relationships, or joy. Her work is rooted in transformation, faith, and intentional living. Today, she's here to show us how to live on purpose. And without further ado, let's bring Morgan on.
Hello.
Hello.
So here.
I'm excited to have you here. Thank you so very much. Before we dive into some of the questions I have for you, I'd love for you to share with the audience how you bring healing to the world. What's your unique brand of healing the world?
It starts with ourselves. If we don't love ourselves, then we're never going to receive love outside of ourselves. And if we don't heal ourselves, then from the inside out, mind you, because it all starts, I don't think you can see my full background here, but it all starts with our thoughts, right? So if you don't heal yourself from the inside out, you can't help anyone else either.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. It all starts inside out.
Yeah.
I love how you talk about helping people break out of autopilot. Like you don't hear that very often, but it's done so much, and actually designing a life they want to wake up for, make room for.
Sure.
So I know in my work with high capacity professionals, I see so many who are productive but not present, just kind of checking the boxes without really feeling connected to what they're doing. What do you think causes so many high achievers to slip into that state of autopilot? And what's the first conscious shift that helps them wake back up to their lives?
I'll start with the first conscious shift. Oftentimes for people, something happens in their life to cause them to wake up and realize, holy smokes, like I'm miserable. I'm not enjoying this anymore. Sometimes it's a health diagnosis. Sometimes it's a divorce. Sometimes they get laid off from their job. And it's because we are so used to shoving down these voices of discontent and faking it till we make it, right? That's the phrase we've all heard before, that we're not listening to our own inner guidance on you're not happy. And there's some people that they recognize that they're not happy. I was one of those. I knew that I wasn't happy, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to fix it. And I didn't even know there were people like me now out there that existed to help you with that, right? So I was just keep continuing day after day, hoping that like something would change and it would get better. And what causes that, right? That's what you asked initially.
Hmm.
I think part of it is cultural. Part of it, especially here in America, we work to live. I'm sorry, we live to work,
Hmm.
right? Like it's just this grind mentality. We have these beautiful devices that are attached to us all the time. And so it's hard for people to separate work from family time because it all gets jumbled together. You have your email access, you have your phone access. So whether we have the expectation for ourselves that we are going to answer this email or not, there does often feel that there is an expectation outside of us for us to be always available for our employer or our employees, depending on which side of the spectrum that you're on.
Right. And when you talk about autopilot as well, we get so conditioned to sounds or things like when I turned off my phone and put it on do not disturb, it was
Yeah,
so that I would not get these little pings like, to remind me, oh, you need to do this now. Oh, you need to do this because it
right.
would have immediately drawn my attention to it and
Yeah.
not connecting. I have one girlfriend. So went to dinner one time and I said,
Mhm.
if you don't stop looking at your phone, I'm gonna leave.
And yeah, we're imprisoned by them almost,
Mhm.
right? It's interesting because it's the thing that we think gives us freedom. I got a little tongue tied there. It's the thing that we think gives us freedom is actually the thing that's imprisoning us here
Right.
because we're so attached to them. And I mean, kids that are growing up now, they don't even know what it's like to not have a cell phone that can get on the internet and do all of these things,
Right.
right? And so most people do run on autopilot. They kind of live a different version of the same day over and over again. And they
Oh,
just wake up, they go to work, they come home, they eat dinner, they go to bed, exhausted. And they
so
do it over and over again, saying, someday when I retire, maybe I'll get to enjoy my life.
that we're all in the Bill Murray movie Groundhog Day, and just kind of
Yeah.
living it over and over again. And that is so true. I've seen there's this picture of some people I know, and they're on this trip, and some would
Mm,
say, bless their hearts, they're out there. We got canes, we have walkers,
yeah,
and you can just tell they're not in their best state. And some might say,
sure.
wow, it's wonderful that they're still out there moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree. I would also say how sad it is that it took them a lifetime to get out and do the things that they've been yearning to do when you don't
Yeah,
have the capacity to do all the things you may have wanted to do.
right. Yeah, why are we waiting for some day to enjoy our lives? Why are we not enjoying our lives every day? Because look, tomorrow is not guaranteed. And
True.
I'm not preaching, hey, don't get out there and work, right? That's
Mhm.
not at all what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is enjoy your life every single day. Enjoy every moment of every single day because life is too short. Even if you live 120 years, which maybe feels and seems like a long time, in the grand scheme of the spectrum of our universe, it's nothing. It's a drop in a bucket, right?
Yes.
And we get
Yes.
one life, one. So enjoy the work that you're doing. And a lot of times burnout is occurring because we don't fully enjoy the work that we're doing and we don't feel fulfilled in the work that we're doing anymore. We may be
Right.
dead at one point, but then we just kind of get into autopilot and it takes over for us.
Right. That we grow and have different needs, different
Yeah.
desires. I get that so many people have felt like, well, I went to school, I'm still paying on my student loan. I
Mm-hmm.
have to be an X, whatever that
Right.
is, and to consider taking a different path just seems tragic and maybe like they invested in the wrong thing. So there's so many
Mm.
emotions going on with how do I make that pivot and am I allowed to?
Can I offer a perspective on that?
Absolutely.
It's a stepping stone, right? So first I'll say nothing is ever lost. It's stored in the bank of the universe with interest. So take that as you will, right? Time, money, experience. We gain something anytime any of it is given out, and whether we receive immediately back what we are intending or not, right? So say we go to college. When I went to college, I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up because I was 18. And like most 18-year-olds, we have no idea what we want to do with our lives, right? But I knew for myself, whatever it was that I did, it would be with people. So I got a degree in psychology. Now, I went and I was a teacher, right? So I went back to school. I got a certification to teach. That was a stepping stone. I learned so many lessons in teaching. So I learned so many lessons in psychology about the way that our brain works, the way that we interact with each other as humans, right? And then I learned in teaching so many lessons about damage control, handling the classroom, right? Navigating, wearing 200 hats at a time. I could go on and on and on. Then I started my own real estate business. I left teaching. I became an entrepreneur. I learned a ton of lessons and information in that, right? And whenever I heard my own intuition share with me to teach these principles that I share today, I was very resistant to that because of exactly what you're saying here. I felt like I've done all these things and like that's a waste almost of all of this experience that I have, all this training that I have, all this money that I've invested into my education outside of moving forward and going back to school again for a new certification. And someone offered me this perspective. They said, what if all of those were just stepping stones to give you the skill set, to give you the experience, to give you the connections and the resources to become who you are now? And I thought about that for a moment. And I'm like, you're right, right? I didn't even know this existed when I got out of college, right? But I wouldn't be the person with the life experience being able to help people the way that I help them had I not walked through all these journeys on my own. So regardless of how old or how young you are, it's all a stepping stone. It's a learning experience that you gain nuggets of knowledge along the way. You make connections with people along the way so that you can step into who you've been designed to be.
Right. So if they just make that small shift, that you're not throwing away your education. You're still using it. That you're using it in a different way. You're using all those skills and information to help you move forward.
Right. And you used it for a period of time, right? So even if there's a part of you that's like, yeah, but like I paid all this money, right? Okay, you paid all that money. You got a certification, a degree, a skill set, a knowledge base. Did you use that to serve people? Probably, most likely. Most people are going to have a yes to that. Then good. It was well worth it, right? And now it's time for your next journey, possibly. If it is time for your next journey.
Well, that I believe that's part of the old adage where you got a job and you got your training, you got a job, and you stayed at that job until it was time to retire, and that's no longer the case anymore. Companies are not loyal like that.
Right.
Benefits are not loyal. People are so much more mobile that it's really difficult to just stay at one company or even stay in the same role, because I feel as if we are growing at such a rapid rate. We get so much information, and we now don't want to be pigeonholed now into one thing, because there's so many more things to explore with us. And so I'd really like to get into your journey from teaching to real estate, because to coaching, because that shows a real deep level of faith, intentional decision making. And I know that I often talk about alignment as a form of leadership clarity and knowing when to move, when to pause, when to pivot. How has your faith guided your decision making through each chapter of your transformation, and like what role did mindset mastery play in keeping you aligned?
That is such a good question. And it's interesting because we all have kind of a different definition of faith, right?
Yes.
So when I started this journey, my definition of faith was like this relationship with this man in the sky that judged me for things that I did.
Mm.
His name was God. He wasn't very kind, but he was very loving. It was quite confusing of a relationship. I never really heard from him. I just kind of talked to him. That was my experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me about my relationship of faith now, it's just like trust in the process of life, trust in, and I don't know how much we'll get into this. And so I'm also not sure how much this will make sense to your listeners, but universal laws, they're invisible, but just like gravity, we all use them every single day, whether we are aware of them or not. So now my faith is in these laws and the way that they work. And I have a very faith-based, spiritual-based practice, but it's not tied to religion. So when I first started my teacher journey, that was kind of what my faith relationship looked like, right? Mm-hmm. And I was beyond burnt out teaching. I loved teaching. I loved it. I loved teaching. I did not love everything else that came with it. And I was coming home every day with my cup empty. And I knew that I wanted to coach, ironically enough. I knew that I wanted to teach. I knew this was my purpose, the way that I was guided and put here to serve. So I started looking for like coaching type positions, and I thought it was going to be more financial based, and I didn't find anything. But I had this idea of what I wanted my life to look like. And I knew what I was living right now wasn't it. So I then started searching for what could give me this kind of life. What would allow me to make my own schedule? What would allow me to work from anywhere? What would give me millions and millions of dollars? What could I do to be rich and wealthy, right? Mm-hmm. So as I was Googling and reading and listening to podcasts, everything pointed me back to real estate. And I had always had like an interest in real estate, meaning we would be driving down the road and the conversation would be like, wow, look at that house. Who do you think lives there? How much do you think that cost? You think they built it? You think they bought it? Right? Like it's just this curiosity of real estate, right? And I had a conversation. My mom is also a teacher. I come from a family of teachers.
Oh, what grade does she teach?
She teaches kindergarten.
Oh,
yes.
Precious.
I taught middle school, and we both were like, I don't know how you do it, right?
Right.
And she, we were having a conversation. She was like, well, you should consider getting into real estate. I hadn't told her that I was even looking for something else. She just knew that I was not happy with what I was doing.
Okay.
And
she didn't try to keep you locked in.
No, I'm very blessed in the support system that I grew up with. My dad is an entrepreneur, and he was always, I don't know if he told my siblings, but to me, he always said, Morgan, you need to find a way to be your own boss. I don't know if that's because I was his employee at one point in time. He was like, this ain't going to work for you, girlfriend. Like, you're going to have
I can already see you don't have.
So I don't know what was behind that. I've never asked, but I've melded the two, right? Education and entrepreneurship. It's quite interesting.
Now I'm going to give you homework. You're going to have to ask him.
Yeah, I do. Good homework. That's good homework for me. Yes, I do need to ask him, right? Like, Dad, what was behind that all those years ago? So that's a good homework for me. Thank you for that. Okay, I forgot where I was though. My train of thought just disappeared. So bear with me here.
Hey, and that happens, right? It all happens. While you're trying to figure that out, let's pivot just a little bit about how did you get to burnout in teaching? Like, when did you know, like, I can't do this another day?
So I knew that teaching was a stepping stone for me. My first day in the classroom.
Oh, wow.
I was my first day. I was like, look, I have a lot of energy. You can feel the energy. You can see the energy. I had this much level energy every day in the classroom, right? And on the first day of school is probably the day of school that kids are the most well behaved the entire year. And on my first day, the level of energy, the level of love, level of compassion that I brought, I knew that there was no way I was going to be able to adequately give that to the children in the way that they needed it when I was 65.
Right.
And I knew that that wouldn't be fair to them, right? If I no longer could bring that level of love, support, energy, and compassion, I shouldn't be in the classroom. So that was how I knew it was a stepping stone, right? Like I knew I wasn't retiring from teaching.
Right.
And I honestly commend the people that do retire from teaching. Kudos to you. I don't know how you brought that level of energy this whole time, but like, thank God for you people, right?
Right.
Now, nothing in teaching is easy per se. So I started in special education. And my intention with special education, I paid my way through college because I was a care attendant for people with disabilities. And the way that I was able to support them really warmed my heart. And so I went into special education because I thought it was going to be kind of a similar experience. And it wasn't. It was not about the children. It was about the paperwork. And the first year of teaching was quite interesting, is the most positive way that I can say it. And I asked my district, amongst many reasons, but I asked my district, my school and my district, if I could be moved from special education into any other type of teaching, general education, pre-AP. I was there for the kids, and I didn't feel like I was being able to be there for the kids in the role I was playing.
Was it a lot of administrative overload with IEPs and?
There was a lot of that. There was a lot of legality behind it. Like, you're looking at this paperwork, right? Like, what does the law say this kid needs? And it's not really like, what is actually going to help this kid? What's actually going to change their lives? At least in my experience, right? Now, I'm not saying that this is one school, right? So I'm not saying that in all the world, right? But in the experience that I had, this was the case. And they told me, sorry, Morgan, you're really good at what you do, so we're not going to let you leave. And I said, I'm leaving districts. Like, I'm not going to continue to do this. And I switched districts and I got put in a pre-AP teaching position, which I loved. Those kids were much more along the way that I learn and the way that I teach, just like a higher level, more engagement, right? I'm able to challenge them in a different way. And there's a lot that goes into teaching. And there's a lot of moving parts. People often think that, like, outside of teaching, right? People that are not teachers, they say, oh, it's the kids, right? And I'm like, the kids are like a small part of it, but really it's like a death by 1,000 paper cuts. You have the kids, you have the parents, you have the policy, you have the administration, you have the rest of your team. It's the navigation and the juggling of all of it. And it's not really a career that you can understand if you have not done it. That's the best way. And that may be the case with many careers, right? I'm sure you cannot understand what it feels like to be a doctor and to be on call and have to go to the ER and all of this stuff if you've never done it, right? And that's just part of it. And you're asking how I knew I was burnt out. So I knew it was a stepping stone, right? But how I knew I was burnt out, I was having health problems. I was nauseous all the time. I didn't know why I was nauseous all the time. The doctors didn't have any explanation. It was not uncommon that I would have to pull over on my way to work and throw up. And no, I was not pregnant, right? So we had no idea what was going on.
So your body was literally screaming at you.
Yeah.
This is poisonous. This is toxic to us. We don't need to do this.
Yes. But that was like a whisper. That was my body whispering at me, the universe whispering at me. And I knew I wasn't happy, right? I remember telling a friend, like, I feel like I'm having a quarter life crisis. Like, I'm too young to be this unhappy. And I was like, but I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what else to do. And my sister-in-law died in a tragic car accident. And we kind of became parents overnight, which put a lot of stress and strain on my relationship with my husband and with my mother-in-law. It was very challenging to navigate that with her. And I love her dearly. I believe that all that transpired, we all do the best that we can with the information we have at the time.
Right.
So
how many babies did you get?
Just one. My niece came to live with us. She was 5, I believe, when she came to live with us. And so I really noticed that I was pouring into other people's children all day long. And I had a child at home that I wanted to pour into, and I would pour into, but my cup was already empty. And I didn't know how long I could go like that. I didn't know what to do, but I just knew that I couldn't do this for much longer. This was the universe yelling at me, Morgan, make some changes, do something different.
Yeah, your capacity had to change.
Yeah, something, because doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result, is the definition of what?
Insanity, right?
Yeah, I was starting to feel that way.
Man. So do you have some rituals now that you do or engage in to kind of keep you centered? And
so many things that I have learned along my path. And I got burnt out as in my real estate career too, because I was working 365 days a year, and I was paying employees to take vacations and have breaks, but I wasn't giving myself that. And it's no way to enjoy life, right? Which is why I'm like, life's too short to not enjoy it. It's too short. And so there's lots of things that I do. And the one that I will share here, just because I'm not sure how much time we have, right? It's an overlooked and a extremely powerful tool. It's going to sound so simple and so easy. It's your breath.
Oh, box breathing?
There's so many different types of breathing techniques that you can use. If you look up breath work, you can find millions of different types of breathing, and they all have a different purpose.
Right.
But if you just focus on your breath, you can do box breathing. You can in through your nose, sigh of relief. You can breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth like you're blowing through a straw. That one's one of my favorites. It helps regulate your nervous system. But there's so much power in just coming back to your breath, noticing that you get to breathe. Not everyone does. Not everyone is. Not everyone woke up today, right?
Good point.
We take that for granted. So whatever else is happening in our lives, we can come back to the present moment by coming back to our breath, noticing that we are breathing. It is so often that we are breathing like this and we don't even realize it, and our chests are moving up and down, and that's actually anxiety inducing.
I'm actually the opposite. I don't breathe. So
what? How are you alive?
No, truly, like my daughter will look at me sometimes. She's like, "Mother, breathe." I go around holding my breath sometimes. So that's such a good reminder. The life's breath, that it's so visceral.
I was walking around sighing all the time. I was just like, which is your body's way of releasing stress. And I think I heard that in a podcast, or somebody told it to me, and my husband overheard that. And so then every time I would sigh, which was a lot, he was just like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, Yeah? Why? He's like, well, you're sighing. And I'm like, oh. So just focusing on your breath, right? Like noticing that you're holding your breath. What's causing that? What's behind that? What's happening for you that you're so, because it's a natural thing that we're unaware of that we're doing, right? So what's going on for you? I mean, obviously you don't need to like say
Me,
it
I'm
out
focusing.
all.
When I'm focusing on things, I don't
Yeah.
breathe. That is so weird.
Because you're bringing your attention to that, right? It's like the people that are, they got to hold their tongue just right while they're doing something. Yeah. So coming
That's
back to
funny.
your breath is such a helpful tool because, well, you know, for most of us, we always have that with us. We always have our,
Well, yeah,
our
right. You don't have to buy anything for $9.99 to,
free tool,
or
free 99 right there.
right. No subscription service. All you have to do is breathe. It's God given, and you just have to control it and
Yeah.
measure it and feel it.
And when you're noticing that you're taking a breath, that's what you're noticing. Because as much as we're taught about multitasking, that is horse caca. Bull. No, our brains are not wired that way. We can only focus on one task at a time. I do have a pen. This is a great example.
Okay.
You can focus on only one end of this pen at a time. Only one. Your brain is built this way. You can only focus on one thing at a time. So if you're focusing on your breath, it means you're not focusing on whatever is going on around you that's causing you to feel,
Distract.
yeah.
Absolutely. That's a good point. So that's a really good practice to put in your pocket and keep because you always have it.
You always have it.
You don't have to scurry trying to find where's my breath? Where did I put it?
No.
Ah,
And it's a very simple thing to do, right?
right. It is.
It just takes the awareness. It takes the awareness of even knowing that you can focus on your breathing. That was not an awareness I originally had, right? It's something that I've learned.
Right. And it's amazing how sometimes I'll do guided imagery with people, but
Mm,
just that ability to have those moments, it can be life altering.
yeah.
And life changing. Just oh my goodness, I can do this. I can control this. I can create my own environment. I can change how I feel simply by breathing or imagining something. It's
Yeah,
very powerful.
absolutely. It is arguably the two most powerful tools we have. I don't know. You'd stop me if I go too far on my tangent. Two most powerful tools we have: our breath and our mind. Because everything is created first in our thoughts before it's created in our
Right,
reality.
right,
We know this. We just like aren't consciously aware of it. We don't know the power of it, right? But the technology we're using to record this and broadcast it, and the technology you are listening to this on, right? That was
right,
someone's idea, someone's thought. The clothes that we're wearing were someone's idea. Someone designed them. And we get to do the same thing with our lives
right.
if we choose to.
Absolutely. We move forward or stay stagnant based upon what we tell ourselves that our reality is. Just when you think about you see some people like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe they're doing that." And it could
Yeah.
be about the simplest thing. I know some people who have never left the town that they've lived in.
Mm-hmm.
That just is out of their frame of reference and they can't even imagine not being close to their family.
Right.
So and then other people leave on a whim and go across the whole ocean and other countries and learn new languages.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what we decide.
And I'm glad that you brought up like where you live, right? Because it isn't a matter of circumstances or conditions. And we often think it is. But how often is it that there are two people that grow up in the same town with similar circumstances, financial, family, school, similar, not the same, right? Because you could grow up in the same house and not have the same experience, but
True.
similar enough. And one of them can be extremely successful and the other can end up in prison, right? It's because we get to decide. And most of the time, the person that ends up in prison, they're not on a conscious level saying, I would love to go to prison. Although I did have a student one time, I was doing an exercise with them, and he said, Miss G, I ain't got to worry about this because in prison you get 3 square meals a day and all your bills are paid. And I was like, let's pause on so many levels for this, right? Like, is that really what you want out of your life? But it goes back to what you're saying. It's what they're around. He's like, my daddy went to prison. My uncles went to prison. I will go to prison.
That's definitely a mouthful, and environment truly shapes it. Like just like you said, being in the same town, but also being exposed to being able to get the knowledge.
Yeah.
How many people, when you ask kids what they want to be, whether I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, because that's all.
That's
That's
all
all
they see.
kids. Or
Yeah.
basketball player, football player. There's only
Right.
so, or a teacher, fireman, and police
Mm-hmm.
officer. Those are all the careers ever.
Yeah.
But there are so many more. So I really applaud when you. There, I had one guest, and she created a careers book for kids to kind of just show them the plethora of
Mm.
different careers that are available. Because then you know what you can strive for. You
Yeah.
that it creates some possibilities to know. Hey, you can do this thing
Right.
that you never even knew existed.
And we think of like a teacher as a person in a classroom with a whiteboard and a flippy chart,
Yeah, no
right?
more chalkboards.
No more chalkboards. Yeah, chalkboard, whiteboard. Now it's a smart board, right? But that's what we think of a teacher as. We don't think of a
Mhm.
teacher as this type of teacher, the type of teacher that teaches you how to align with yourself, how to get out of burnout, how to pursue your passions. We don't think of it as a teacher that's allowing, because in a way you're a teacher, right? You're
Mhm.
allowing all these people with their different life experiences to come and teach and share to your audience. We don't think about a teacher in that way. We don't think about a doctor as a psychologist. We think about a doctor as a medical doctor,
Right,
right? Well,
right,
not as adults, but as kids, right?
right.
That's just, those are the frame of references that you have. There's,
Exactly. So, and I think I found so many people who don't fall out of love with teaching, but they fall out with the systems
yeah,
around teaching, and it gets too administrative
yeah,
and difficult to do what you love.
that was very much a part of it for me. We had to keep lots of records on how we supported children, and I would keep records of everything that I did to support this child, to support why they earned a 13 in class. Like,
Mm,
well, if you only take one test, you don't do any other assignments, you take one test, even if you make 100,
right.
because you didn't. And it's like, here's all the opportunities that they had to make work up, here's all the opportunities they had to get assistance, here's all the times I pulled them into small group and they refused, here's all the parent contacts, everything, right? Like, here is a binder kerplunk of all the things, and
Mm.
they would get shuffled to the next grade anyway. So what are
Yeah,
we teaching children if that's what they're, if they do nothing and they get moved on?
right.
We're teaching them we don't care about them. We're teaching them you don't have to do anything. You don't have to learn anything. You don't have to grow. And what is that creating for our future? And I was not willing to give my gifts, my talents, my time, and my energy to that structure anymore.
And I hadn't even planned on asking you this, and I'm curious on your thoughts with regard to you. Do you feel like, in some respects, that teachers are guilty until proven innocent? Like,
Mm.
that
Mm-hmm.
just when you talked about having, well, this is why they earned this. This is the
Yeah.
opportunities that I gave. This is so. Do
Mm-hmm.
you feel like it's automatically assumed that it was the educator's failure rather than something else in the system or outside of the ecosystem?
I would say that's a fair assessment. Yeah. And even until proven innocent, there isn't enough that you can do
Hmm.
is the
Elaborate.
so I had I had pre-AP classes most of the time.
Okay.
Students, if they did not meet a certain grade requirement, would be removed from pre-AP class. The designations of how they got into pre-AP class didn't necessarily align with them being successful in this pre-AP class.
Ah.
And so we needed to support why these children were not making the grades, right? So for every single child, and look, if you worked at it, you stayed. If you were willing to put forth the effort, I was willing to help you help yourself, right? But if you're not willing to put forth the effort, then yeah, you're not gonna stay in a pre-AP class. It's not gonna do you any favors, right? If you're not willing to do that for yourself. So even when showing, here's everything that I did as their teacher, there was always the question of, well, what else could you have done?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember having a conversation with an administrator. I'm like, I already am working outside of my school hours. It's already not fair to my family. I'm past my capacity of what I can do. I'm coming with the solutions that I've come up with, and I'm asking if you have any other solution. And your only other solution is do more on your own time.
And with your own money.
With your own money. Yeah. And
Because I remember being in school and there were just supplies that were just given to us. And when I was so disappointed to have a child and then have this grocery list of things that I need to buy, and some of them my child can't keep because it goes into the pot. I was,
Yeah. I bought school supplies every single year for students that could, their parents were not able to provide it for them. Right. Well, you're not going to go without, you need it.
Yes.
Yeah. So guilty until proven innocent and then some. Yeah.
I'd love to hear before we wrap up, how do you help your clients redefine success in a way that sustains both their excellence and their well-being?
Absolutely. So success is such a personal thing. It's such a personal definition. And oftentimes we look outside of ourselves to see and say what success is. Mm-hmm. But really, we get to define success. So what your definition of success is, what my definition of success is, and what every single person listening to this definition of success is going to be slightly different. Right. So I go to, and some people really enjoy this question and others kind of give me a look like, the question is, what would you love? What would you love your life to look like? Every day, how do you wake up? Do you wake up to an alarm going off? Do you wake up to kids jumping on your bed? How do you wake up?
So then you really start them with the question that you use to make your transition.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, full circle.
Yeah. If I didn't look, the content of our lives is the curriculum for our evolution. My mentor says that all the time. If we didn't walk these paths, we wouldn't be able to guide others.
Right, right. Well, and that's a definition of a guide, someone taking you on a journey to places you've never been. Like when we ziplined over where were we? Somewhere in Mexico on this huge mountain, I definitely would not have wanted to do that without our guides.
Right, right.
They told us where to move and where not to move. Okay, Morgan, is there any challenge that you would like to issue our audience, either in their personal or professional life, to be able to improve their circumstance?
Yes, this is going to sound simple. It's not a trick. The challenge is to choose 3 things every day that you can be grateful for, or give 3 praises to one individual a day. So you can choose any individual and you can praise them. And You're not necessarily telling them like, I'm praising you for this, right? No, but see, it's gratitude is what you're giving. You're giving out gratitude, and do it for 30 days and just witness the returns that occur in your life from expressing gratitude. If you don't have someone that you can think of that it would be comfortable to praise, right, 3 times in a day, then choose something or 3 things that you could be grateful for in your day. And it may start with, I woke up today. I have clothes to wear and there's gas in my car. It may start that way, right? And at the end of your 30 days, maybe it's like, I got to see this click for somebody and their light bulb went off and I felt amazing, right? It'll expand.
Expansion.
Absolutely. And you will expand, because gratitude is another very powerful tool that we have access to, and it's free.
Well, I thank you so very much. I think they'll definitely benefit from this journey into gratitude and giving praise, because we don't give people praise enough. So that's an excellent challenge.
Yes. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for having me on, allowing me to share. And I hope that everyone has a golden nugget or two from this.
I think they definitely have a few golden nuggets. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today. My name is Dr. Kimberly Wilson, and you can see us on Leadership Beyond Burnout every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 2 p.m. Pacific. Until next time, we'll see